Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Boks Office, which is sponsored by Investec, leading international bank and wealth manager. Schalk and Jean de Villiers join me to discuss all things finals and Cardiff. We also pick our Springbok 15, our all-time Springbok 15. So make sure you watch it right at the end of the show for the Boks Office, which is now open.
Guys, what are you guys doing next weekend?
Well, what's happening next weekend?
Next weekend is obviously Roland Garros final.
Right.
Are you not going?
Are you going?
Are you not going?
No, I don't get the no. Okay.
Guys, you know who's going to be jealous is BH11, eh? Because like BH11 posted a photo last year of him at Roland Garros, and I'm like, BH, yes, by Roland Garros. No, it was there before that. He just reposted himself. He's got envy for not going every year.
Are you going? Are you going?
Yes. Me and my wife.
What, just romantic weekend?
No.
City of Love.
I'm working.
Harvesting.
I reckon the handle's got to go JD12.
Yeah, exactly.
Roland Garros.
Who's okay? Let's talk about this. Okay.
Taking clients.
Okay.
It's a Taydell.
Yeah.
Geez, JDV.
She was where?
You know.
So you were, it's work and you decided to bring the wife.
Yes.
That's how I got permission to go on this trip.
No, that's all.
Can I give a little bit of...
Once you say the wife is coming along, then you
Shimmie, I just want to give a little bit of advice. If he cuts his hair at the same barber before going to Paris, he's going to be a Middle Eastern European bouncing outside the walkabout 3 o'clock in the morning.
Guys,
So
how's
you
my-
don't get
you won't be allowed.
contracted straight in.
I think my barber has he's done a better job this time around. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's much better.
Much better.
I think you've given him better instructions.
So when do you fly?
We fly Thursday. Land
Are you
Friday.
going to left or right when you walk on the plane?
No, go right.
He's on air now, he can't. He's got he's got shareholders that's going to
Are
complain.
you stepping left or right?
Right.
She's stepping left and he's stepping right.
All right. And then coming back, then we're back on the Monday, but the day flight.
Yeah. From Paris with love.
Oui, oui.
A weekend away. Oui.
Yeah.
And then Super Sport Shootout's going well with you.
Is the
Okay.
wife coming to the Super Sport shootout?
I'll ask Rendani.
No. I can see what you've done here.
Yeah.
He's buying credit.
He's
for
buying
the-
credit
No, I'm not.
for the damage. It's almost like
Take
Bucky's
the wife to Paris, then
No,
you
no.
get the pink slip for the
It's like
Super Sport
Bucky's
shootout.
running onto the field praying for the shit he's going to call.
The Sunday is Father's Day of the Super Sport. We're all aware of that.
She really,
We're all going to be playing golf on Father's Day.
Yeah.
she watches
back.
the show and she doesn't know about the shootout yet. So
Okay, let's get started. Okay, boys, welcome back to the Boks Office. Okay, Jean, we'll talk about you getting credit. I see what you've done. It's an old trick.
no.
Take her to Paris when she says, listen, you're going to the Super Sport shootout. You say, yeah, but we're in Paris last weekend.
Yeah, I know.
Watching
exactly.
Roland Garros on
It's not, that's
centre
not,
court.
That's not how a relationship works, Shimmie.
No, but I know what you're doing.
The only thing I know that we can guarantee it normally is one and done at Super Sport Shootout because then Popsy gets on the phone.
Yeah.
He starts replying. He puts his head down. Now that he's buying credit and it's going to be expensive purse or something coming her way, I can
No,
see John
nothing
going for 3
expensive.
days
No,
in a row.
I
3
mentioned,
days in a row.
Scala, I mentioned the Super Sport shootout, then I was told, but Sunday's Father's Day. So I was like,
But
okay.
That's why I'm on the early flight back on the Sunday. Because I know I'm not. I know I'm finishing early.
You're not going to be on the. Oh, you've
Yeah.
won. You've won the.
That's the
shootout.
problem for playing.
Yeah, that's a problem when you're good.
Yeah, me and Butchie won it in the dark last year nearly. So, geez, it was a long
Defending
day.
defending your title this year.
I haven't actually caught up with Butchie. I know I've got to stay there.
Is he's your partner this year?
He's my partner. I hope so.
No, you definitely need to play together.
So I've got to stay on. I've got no rush to come back because the next week Sax has got the tour against DPHS. So I've got a whole 10 days in Durban, guys.
Well, do you normally play with Barney?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
Okay.
We win our first day
How
because
many have you
Brian.
lost? Have you finished like dead last? How many times?
No, we haven't. We always win the first day. Hold on.
What is the standing game? You against BH. Who's
No,
BH's
it's always
partner?
Habana and Lambie against me and John on the first day,
Okay.
and we generally beat them. And then the problem is we get excited that
Always.
that Saturday night. And then we're not in good shape to play the next day, and generally we play against a good player. So Sean McLeod, the 1 year won it. We played against him.
Yes.
John told me he wasn't a good golfer.
He plays with
He
like
ends up
a
winning
18 and he shoots a
wins the tournament.
73.
Around
The following year
Zimbabwe.
it was Chalupski. I think he was joint.
Yeah.
I think he was joint leader at one stage.
He was.
Yeah, he was.
He
Yeah.
played, didn't he?
He played with
Tash.
Gary. He was with
Yeah,
Tash.
Yeah, it
as
was
well.
Tash. Yeah, we played them the day before. Me and Bucci.
Quick question. The fact that I get a new partner every year, is that like a reflection on me? Or what do you guys reckon?
Okay, who have your partners been?
Schalk?
He said he doesn't want you. After that practice round,
I would
want
take.
you as a
I would
partner.
gladly take John, but last year's practice round, when he cracked the solar panel 50 yards right up a mountain,
I think
with
it's
his
been
driver.
Schalk, Butch, Damien Dalendi, Owen Kamani, Stefan de Blanche. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember.
So you-
Johnny, I would
so you don't
gladly
know you
take
played
you
with
back.
this year?
No,
Yeah.
no. I'm not good at golf.
Zimbabwe is also a little bit too tight for all of us on
Yeah.
the second day. The Babalas kicks in. It's tough to keep it in play there.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Is if you, because it's obviously a sporting social event, if you want to
Yeah.
call it that. And yeah, some guys take it very seriously, the golf, and some guys take the social quite seriously as well.
Well, Butch does both.
He does.
Yeah,
I've got a video of him with a cigar in his mouth the night before. And I was like, there's no way. Next thing, I land in Cape Town. The guy's winning the tournament.
I know.
Couldn't believe it.
last in the pub, first on the golf course.
Yeah.
It doesn't normally work out that way.
And he manages it.
Yeah.
Boys, just quickly, let's look at the review the Champions Cup final this last.
Let's do it, Shimmie.
Scala, John, how far did you get in Champions Cup with Munster?
Semi-final.
Lost to?
Biarritz.
They ended up winning it, isn't it?
No, they lost to Toulouse in the final.
Yeah.
That's when Emmanuel Haranordiki played with that
Oh, with a mask.
the mask, yeah, against us. And when
Benoit Auguste.
Was
I mean, you've got a
away or at
YouTube.
home
You've
or-
got a
I was
YouTube
at
John
San-
getting absolutely
played in Spain.
pulverized by Benoit
San
Auguste.
Sebastian.
What happened? What happened? Yeah.
No, it was like
Relax.
they kicked or whatever, and then and he like blindsided. I got the ball, and
So
it's
it's one of
like
these where,
blindsided me.
like the
Yeah.
ball goes up in the air, it bounces. There's no offside, no ruck was formed, and John like intercept king gets it, runs. Next moment, this
Boom!
game over. Yeah.
Smash.
What position was he again?
Hooker.
Okay.
Yeah.
You played a couple international games.
That was big tackle.
What? So you lost that at home?
No, we lost it. Played at San Sebastian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeez, I've never
was-
been there. That looks
that was-
unreal.
Yeah, beautiful.
Schalk, you've won 2.
1-2 and lost against Leinster in a semi in the other. We played Claremont
Yeah.
at Edinburgh. That's
Claremont.
the first Claremont.
Yeah.
Got that one over the line, and then we played Leinster at St James's Park, Newcastle.
I remember that one.
Exceptional, yeah. Beautiful day this time of the year, obviously. Managed to outlast Leinster. So that's the one where Goody just decided to get pissed in his gear for a week.
Oh, was that the one?
That
Yeah.
was the one. So we trained up and we trained our way down, and then he had a shower, got into his reserve kit. So it's not the match day kit. And then he, just didn't. Had his last beer with me Friday night, following Friday.
Yeah.
How's this? So you guys celebrated the whole week?
I had to go play Worcester in the Midlands. They were a relegation battle. We lost that game. And then we went on to play semi-final Prem. We won the double. And then only just outlasted Exeter at Twickenham
Yeah.
a week after.
Sure, Exeter is in a bit of a struggle at the
It's
moment.
changed quick for a lot of those teams. I mean,
Teams,
just
yeah.
take into account Northampton, how good they were on the weekend, but they're 8th in the Prem.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think also because they sort of looked at trying to win the Investec Champions Cup. And then also a lot of their players played for England. So during then, if I understand, the Prem carries on. So now you pull 5 players or the English guys out of that team. There's a bit of a hole there. Whereas with the guys who were Saracens, as much as the English guys left, you were there.
Yeah,
I think John would have been there.
I guess
Schalk
also-
Brits would have been there.
Also credit to our English.
Skelton.
Yeah, Will
Yeah, Will
Skelton,
Skelton.
Sean Maitland.
Bosch.
You guys had a proper team.
Credit to our English players, because when they came back, they didn't take time. They wanted to get straight back into it.
Yeah.
Culture was of such where they wanted to play for Saracens as badly as they wanted to play for England. So, those players had a massive workload on them, and they performed.
Yeah. It looks like if you want to win the Investec Champions Cup, you get Arthur Retieri.
Who's he?
He's won 3 in succession with Bordeaux, La
Position?
Rochelle. And I
Position?
think was it
What
Toulouse.
posie are we?
I think he's back 3.
Was he? He wasn't.
He's not playing at
So,
Roland
so
Garros.
he's moved club twice in the last 3 years.
Every club he's gone to,
There's one.
they've ended up winning it.
Where's he contracted?
Where's he
next
going
year?
next year?
Bring him to Cape Town.
I want to put a side bet on it.
You like Cape Town.
Yeah.
He's won three in a row. But I mean, to win it twice, also you guys doing the double is probably incredible. But the last 5 Investec Champions Cups have been won by French clubs.
That's correct, Shimmie.
So what's happening in France?
They have the budget.
But like, I mean,
No, but you still got a coach there. We
Yeah.
thought Toulouse, Bordeaux weren't the favourites to win this. Northampton went.
No, but there
final
were
was-
signs. There were signs early on.
Yeah,
they've
way
also,
that
they've also
Bordeaux
beaten
played.
Toulouse twice in the
top 14, yeah.
yeah.
And then they got them in the semi. That game was exceptional. This weekend's game, it was bloody tight. Like
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you think Northampton, Pollock's 2 tries gets called back. One, he was in front of the ball. The other one is obstruction. Subtle, but Tameifuna does well to actually get away and show to the referee that he's been held back. Like it's the right decisions that were made, but that another day gets given, or he's a step further back and they bloody in the game.
But it's also like, I think, a fantastic attacking team, Bordeaux. The individual players that they have, but also the unison that you have within that team and the understanding that they have. But the defensive effort, second half.
Yeah.
So it was 20-all half time.
Yeah, 20-all.
So no points conceded in the second half
Yeah.
by Bordeaux. And I mean, it takes, because Northampton, they
have
are
a go.
slouches in terms of attack.
they're great
Proper players. The disruption of the injuries early on, I think, had a bit of an
Yellow
influence,
cards in these big games.
and yellow
it's
cards.
rearing its head, and also you can't celebrate the try anymore.
Yeah.
Even after the conversion's gone, you sort of sit and wait. Did they score? Did they not? There's a lot of drama in these big games, but like discipline in and around the tackle area again. Like I thought Bath, on Friday night, Underhill was lucky with his. one.
Yeah, that was.
Was like is there mitigation maybe, but like he smokes the bloke.
Yeah.
And that sort of set the tone for the weekend, which I don't mind. The problem is you switch channels and you watch a different rugby game and it's a straight red. We can't. We're sitting there, according to what we've seen over the last 18 months. That's a red card. But
You just don't know anymore.
I prefer to go back to just a yellow card. But yeah, you don't know. If the 3 of us sit, there's no alignment between what it is. Is it a penalty? Is it play on? Is it a yellow or red?
But what's the solution? I mean, something popped up on my Instagram there. Remember the Farrell tackle on Esther Hazen? That was 2018. That was high tackle drama then. We're still talking about it now.
I know.
It's. I mean, where does it? Is there a solution?
Yeah, I watched that game live. I was there.
Yeah. So sort of that tackle. It was a no arms tackle. The guy upstairs. No. Game over.
Yeah.
You look at it again. Chances are that would have been a card. South Africa got a penalty to win the game, but that was I'm sure that was 2018.
Yeah.
It was 18.
Yeah, 2018. Was it 225 now? We're still talking about tackles.
But it's
the
also,
TMO missed a lot, I thought, on this in the final.
Yeah.
it's a human element as well that I think, because they go through kind of, the entry level and then is there any mitigation, etc. But and taking Friday's game as an example, it just felt like, the referee, she was like, no, I think it's yellow.
Yeah.
So and once the referee kind of states, okay, that's my opinion, it's not often where you see the TMO saying no, I don't agree, or the touchy saying they don't agree. So whereas a different referee would have immediately gone, no, I think it's a red. Even though the
I think
the
it's sometimes
differences-
how the TMO comes in. They'll go different head contact, so that's your starting point. So then almost the on-field referee can't really change if the TMO's seen head contact.
But Schalk, so my view is that yes, it can be head contact, but you have head contact with massive force.
Yeah.
You have head contact head
that
on
was
head. You have head
passive,
contact.
where you
Yeah,
stand.
passive.
But Underhill's head contact, that's scramble defense. He's going for the corner.
that was
the
a
guy
big-
he steps inside, he's got his head down.
Look, I mean,
What-
I feel from the issue is like
Yeah.
the way we conditioned regarding this is, which it shouldn't be, is players red card immediately. Then you've got to go find mitigation to make sure that you come down.
Yeah.
I want players to be, start from a clean slate and then you ratchet it up.
Yeah.
Is there force? Is there danger? Is there movement, late movement?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it sort of set the tone for the weekend. I don't think you can then watch the Saturday game and have the same incident and go red card, because
Yeah.
all of us are going back to Friday night and saying, look, I mean, if those head contacts were yellow cards or penalties only, then surely that's the standard for the weekend, which is the issue. It should be a standard forever for all of us.
I think also so why do they have it in place? It's for the players' safety. And I think the fact that, because even, who was the tackle? It was on the fullback.
Yeah, it was the fullback.
The Georgian fullback,
Shakvili.
Niniashvili.
Yeah.
Shakvili. He wasn't injured, so I don't even think he went for a HIA.
No.
So he was fine. And the other yellow card, playing in the air, that to me, that's reckless as well.
That was,
Yeah.
So Mia, when he went,
when Foot got the yellow.
Slappers.
How much?
when he,
How much?
when he went for that tackle. So I think if we can get the players, if we can tick the players' safety box, but then also try keep 15 players on the field as much as possible. So also from my point of view, the fact that no one got injured and we still saw good game of rugby, yellow card, but then they came back rather than maybe 2 red cards, and it would have been a total mismatch.
Pollock's disallowed tries. Unlucky there. That would have changed the game.
Which one?
There's the chip kick over the top.
No, it was
It's
offside.
offside, yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's ahead of the kicker. The referee picked it up. Often you let them score the try and then go back, but he was quite clearly in front of the ball.
Let's talk about Pollock. Obviously, we spoke about him last week. Confident, comes across as quite cocky at times. The French celebrations. You saw that obviously with the pulse there.
Yeah.
When does it overboard, or when should it end? Because I saw the French players even on the plane still doing that same almost walking constantly. But when do we draw a line here? And the basketball thing. Where do we draw a line?
I don't think you have to draw a line. I mean, that's what we said last week on the show. If you Henry Pollock, who quite often puts himself out there, I mentioned, I know what I would want to do if I play against him now. He's a great player. And I think the French felt the same way about him through their celebrations.
That's unfortunate. If you put yourself out there,
You've got to be...
Unfortunately, you need to be prepared for the backlash if it doesn't go your way.
I mean,
it's like being on social media.
Let's put it this way. If Northampton won this game,
and he's doing that.
He was definitely doing that.
Yeah.
And he was doing it in celebration, So it's unfortunately when you do these type of things, time will show you up.
Yeah, I think, it's just the character. I think, and without any context of knowing what actually happened prior to it, when he got involved in a scuffle, they were celebrating as well. Unfortunately, when you lose a game of rugby, you need to take it on the chin. You need to move away, because anything that you do to upset the others, then that's just going to reflect badly.
Look, he brings something different. That's why I like it.
We're talking about him, so
and on the weekend he crossed the whitewash twice. A different game. Maybe he scores a double. He didn't. So he's going on Alliance tour now, where I think he'll have a big role to play. It's always good fun. He's now out there. So if you're Australian loose forward, you're going to put yourself up. Listen, at least I'd like to run at this thing.
Pete Salmo.
Yeah.
How good was Pete Salmo?
Yeah, he's going back to Australia. He was good with. Remember, he was at the Crusaders to the Brumbies. He won Super Rugby with the Crusaders, and then went to the Brumbies. Did well.
He's our man. What's our man? We've got to sign him up for Super Rugby. We'll win a third one.
But it's quite a. You watch sort of the European teams. They get a scrum penalty
on Pollock. Just on Pollock.
Sorry?
No, you don't have to say sorry.
Okay, yeah.
He's young. He'll still learn. He'll find his way. He'll see what works for him, what doesn't. I don't think he should ever lose that edge, but you get the balance right eventually. So, he's 21 years old.
That's some gas, some wheels.
But does it annoy you guys when you watch a lot of the European teams, they get us a knock-on or a penalty and the guys go absolutely wild? You don't get that. South Africans, we don't celebrate. We don't do that.
Yeah.
You don't see the bull scrumming someone and then the whole team celebrating for a penalty, sort of let's move on.
I think if it's all in proportion, sometimes it's almost like they celebrate that bigger than they score a try. For me, I make a knock on and they celebrating like they've won the World Cup. That's for me is a bit overboard. I don't think it's in our makeup to do that. But if you have a big defensive set and someone comes up with a big play or he makes
steal or something like that.
You obviously want that, immediate impact of what a great set, and give it a little bit of a high five and a hug. But you're not like you're winning the World Cup. But I don't know. Like I think everyone's culture is different, and sometimes I think that's needed for the team to understand.
Yeah.
You know, they're locked in and they're playing well. I could never do that.
You want to create energy within that squad, but sometimes
there's plastic energy
it's
also.
plastic. It's
Yeah.
overboard. And I mean, sometimes if an opposition player just knocks on the ball, there's no pressure, and then you start celebrating. I mean, what did you really do?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Whereas if it's a really good defensive set, a big hit, you can celebrate that.
Big
But
scrum, a big maul stop, big moments, pivotal moments. Like I mean, I like to celebrate this big time, but like,
yeah,
I think we're just a bit more subtle.
I think the fact that they turn around to the crowd, it's a lock on.
The thing is, you watch that French. I was thinking, let's say the Sharks had beaten Northampton Saints. Can you imagine the Sharks guys doing that pulse thing and going on about it? I'm not sure. Like,
I think
you think so?
I think a couple of those players would. Yeah, I think we've seen.
I'm
it
just
before.
using the Sharks as an example. Yeah. Or a South African team, let me say.
It's very much dependent on the individuals. You
do it
in a squad.
Like in our days,
No.
Shimmie, there wasn't there wasn't cameras in the changing room. So even if I did it, no one.
no one would pick it up. Anyway, guys.
Anywho,
Bordeaux, Damien Pinot, I think, 2
many
tries,
tries did he score?
highest score in the
14.
competition,
14
and played the
tries.
tournament.
Yeah.
He made a banner nervous in the World Cup in France because he was chasing his record. Brian was very nervous. But what I mean, this guy. But is it his pace, his anticipation? I don't know. He's got to be doing something right.
I think it's
Jonah, you'd have said
Everything.
size or whatever it is. But what does he?
A bit of everything.
Yeah, he's obviously got proper instinct, but also the way Bordeaux plays.
Yeah.
Like between him and Bill Beret, I mean, it's not a fluke that they top try scorers in the comp. Also, Bordeaux broke the record for amount of tries scored in
a season,
the competition.
Yeah.
The way they attack is exceptional. They had the disallowed try for where there was a 1-2 between Penno and Bill Beret. And a lot of credit's got to go to Jalibert.
Yeah, that's
2 try assists,
question.
2 try assists on the weekend. Like out of nothing. The one he kicked it into a guy, got the steal and the offload to score a try. And
Coleman.
And the other one was he stepped the whole pack of forwards and then lobbed it over for Coleman.
Yeah.
Another Aussie going really well.
Yeah.
The
Luku?
that's what I wanted to mention now.
Unreal.
The depth that France has now for their playmakers.
Yeah.
Luku, Jalibert.
Well, that's if Jalibert wants to play for France. I mean,
Dupont,
Intermac,
Legarec,
Ramos.
Ramos.
I like him.
But I mean that's six sets of 9-10s that you can select.
Some of the man in France.
I
he's
think
the general. Eh?
slowly but surely, France might just be the biggest contenders for World Cup winners 2027. Slowly but
They
surely.
couldn't win it at home, but you're saying they're going to win it away.
Slowly but surely, the
Twice
way
they
they're
couldn't win it
going.
at home.
We're not in test season yet for the Boks, but
Yeah.
slowly but surely.
Like the last 5 European winners, French clubs.
Yeah.
They're building their age grade stuff's always been good, so they're building up to something special.
They're going to New Zealand. All these guys we're mentioning, Penno, Berry, all of them. None of them are going.
Yeah, I know.
So what do they actually learn? I'm talking about from the French team. If they had to go to New Zealand now and win, I think it's 2-match series or 3-match.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
2 or 3 or whatever, and they had to get that over the line. Then I talk about them being World Cup contenders. But for me, that hinders them though.
The one thing it does do though is we all these players, and we talk about their depth. I mean, they're just creating more depth by exposing more players.
Yeah.
And obviously for them, top 14 is they run a bit longer. It's the biggest comp, and these players are earning well and they're held down by their clubs. It's unfortunately the system. Like we've said before, like we want to see their best players coming to South Africa, and New Zealand will be no different. But sometimes, I'm not saying over 3 games or 2 games, one of these games, the French sides will scare the All Blacks.
I think they'll win one. They'll get one over the line.
Even if they send a weekend squad.
Yeah.
How will the compilation of that squad work? Do we know? Is it
The
like
combination or the compilation?
compilation?
Okay.
Will it be the teams that play in the final of the top 14? They don't get selected, or
I'm not
we
too
don't
sure.
know. Okay.
I think normally when they get to the semis, they sort of not available to play, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But what's been quite good is the French players. I think some of them have said they want to go to New Zealand, which is always a good sign. It's a pity that such a big series. It's actually rugby's fault. It shouldn't be like that. Test match should take.
I mean, we can go down the rabbit hole of where's the global
Global
season.
season.
Yeah,
Global
and-
season.
Yes, we've been asking for this thing for how long? That's not
There's a new. They announced what a World Club competition. Have you read about that?
no.
The next, I think it's every 4 years. The top, I think, top South African teams, top in the UK playing up there. Jean, you involved with
I don't know where they're at
the
the
formats.
moment.
Yeah, they've spoken about it every 4 years.
Yeah.
But then again, you don't know the logistics.
Now, why every 4 years for a club? Because it's quite a big
Yeah.
gap for clubs. Clubs, it's hard for them to stay together for 4 years. And every 4 years, how do you pick the best one every 4 years?
Different teams all the time.
It should be a shorter turnaround than that.
Yeah.
It should almost be like every second year or whatever.
Yeah, because you win the competition the 1 year, and then the squad changes the next year, and you're not as competitive.
But the other issue, which is a relevant one, if let's say the Bulls had to make the final of the club champs,
Yes, Shimmie?
semi-final, final,
Yes.
how are people from? How are you going to get Bull supporters in the stadium if they're playing their final in France? How do you sell it out? Because
You fly
it
them.
works. Investec Champions Cup works in Europe if you think about it.
Yeah.
Northampton, it's at what our
Like,
train ride, whatever it is.
If we can get one of our franchises in those big playoffs, I mean, there'll be a lot of us going across, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't.
Like we haven't travelled after our side match because of the way the structure works. You
No,
start-
because of the rand.
No, probably. But like also you can't go
Says
to
Mr. Paris for
you,
3
you
days.
can't go to
Huh?
New Zealand for 10 days. It's just too far. Or you can't go via Australia to New Zealand. Europe, there's always a big group of us going
Yeah.
end of the year Europe. This year we're playing France, we're playing Italy, we've got Ireland the week after that. There will be tons of us travelling.
And also the South African diaspora over there.
Yeah.
You know,
Beautiful
so yeah, the so they will go, and then your really loyal South African supporters that can afford it will make the trip.
Is it mission impossible for a South African team to get to this final?
No,
No. But
How do we do it?
We'll need buy-in.
win
from-
more games.
We'll need buy-in from I think
Good insight.
It's a rugby planning,
No,
making sure all your best players are available and ready up for selection, and you've got to target it. You know,
Yeah, that's because the players are available. You remember,
Yeah.
there's no alignment camp or
We're not.
the Investec Champions Cup. All the players are available. What happens though is that gap between traveling and you've got a big URC game.
yeah.
Now you can turn around and say we can chase Investec Champions Cup.
We're not-
Forget about URC. We'll
At the
take some
moment,
big
our
players.
focus is URC because
Yeah.
I almost think, like we're in a point where that's our bread and butter, and we don't quite have, the capacity for, Champions Cup at the moment. But like all these great French sides, English sides of the past, or Northampton, they quite clearly they weren't going well in the Prem, and they were targeting Europe, like the Sharks did last year.
After they beat the Bulls in Pretoria, I think then they knew, okay,
The
they
Saints.
yeah.
Yeah, because they've done the job. Yeah.
And the Sharks last year they were going nowhere in the URC, but then they kept their hopes alive by going for the Challenge Cup.
I also think we're not in the rhythm of our season structure yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With URC and with the Investec Champions Cup. Whereas in the past, you knew with Super Rugby, Currie Cup, Internationals, Rugby Championship, kind of end of
But
year
it's
tour.
3 years now. I mean, we've
Yeah,
got to
but
adapt
still,
somewhere.
we're not there yet. I think well, hopefully next year we can prepare better in terms of squad, squad selection, and then really mapping out because also last year, 2 years ago, World Cup, it's also mapping out then, okay, how do you want to go about it? What will you target, and will you give it a proper go? Because I think we're good enough.
I'm not
eventually.
mistaken,
like,
And the travel.
I watched
We need to
the-
sort out the
I
travel
watched
so
the-
that
the
it's
semis
direct
and I watched
flights.
the finals. You feel left out that South Africa is not taking a part of it.
Yeah.
It's such great occasions. It's incredible. You see the scenes afterwards. You see the crowd that pulled into Cardiff. I mean, we've got to take part or try and be a part of that. But it is going to be hard. Also, squad depth is imperative. And I think once the South African side gets a bit of a bad injury run, I think it's easier for them to go, okay, URC is our focus.
Yeah, but if you look at the squad depth, the Springboks, I think, sorry, not the Stormers with most of the, okay, let's say Sharks have got 13, 14 Springboks. The Bulls, probably around about maybe less 10.
Yeah,
Stormers probably run about the same as the Bulls
yeah.
at full strength. I'm talking about at full strength. It's 9 games.
I actually, like, before the season, said if the South African side's going to make a run, it's probably going to be the Sharks if they've had the availability
Yeah.
of all their players. Obviously, a lot of the internationals haven't done a lot of minutes this year for them. But, that's what they proved last year. As soon as those internationals came back and they got into the quarter and the semi and played the final up against, who was it they played? Gloucester at Wembley.
Yeah.
And absolutely smoked them. I think they've got the firepower to do it. But unfortunately, it hasn't panned out for them in Europe this year.
Yeah, and also, like, you look at Bordeaux, Luku, Jalibert. You look at Saints, Finn Smith, Alex Mitchell. You look at Toulouse, you look at Leinster, their playmakers are, those are the guys that drive the game. Then you look at the South African teams. Okay, our South African teams, for the Stormers, who's the best 9 and 10? Okay, who will be the ones that they settle with? For the Sharks, same thing. For the Bulls, same thing.
Yeah.
Lions, same thing. So I think within our squads also, we still chop and change so much. And I think if it's difficult to establish or to say who the core players in those squads are. You've got some players, yes, but in the key positions, I've still got question marks in terms of that. We need to, you need to kind of build around those guys.
But there's internationals all around those squads.
You do.
So you've got Jordan and you've got Jaden at the Sharks.
Grant.
I mean, us as
who's the Springboks first choice come off? 9 and 10. You can't.
We don't know. Last year we used 6.
Yeah.
You've got Grant there. Stormers, I mean, we've got the 3 best playmakers, and it's not like we can pick between them.
Yeah.
All 3 of them, if they fit this week, we don't have Damien Willems, so he's suspended for, a high tackle, which by all account, if you take that tackle and put it next to Andiel's tackle, the one gets suspended. I mean, we've gone through this many times.
Let's not go down that.
All 3 playmakers got to play. I don't care what Dabo thinks can happen or not happen. Marnie was exceptional the other day at Fluff. So you've got to use all 3 of them. It's not like we've got, tons of other players putting their hands up. So I think there's experience. Bulls, young Quissens are injured. So
I think they're all very different. And I think that's what I'm trying to get to, is that they're all so different that you need to adapt every time as a team according to the Fluff, where I think for those teams, Bordeaux, as Saints, whatever, they're way more established in the way that they play and their drivers within the team.
But if we bring it home now, Toulouse came to the
coming
Sharks.
home.
They won. It was quite tight. It was humid day in Durban. Toulouse just kicked a lot better. But
they were actually way better.
Yeah.
Well, that's the game where the Sharks decided they want to run it from the goal line. Which I mean,
I'm saying all things being equal, if you had to take a full strength Toulouse or Bordeaux or Leinster team, bring them to South Africa, would we have a chance to beat them?
Yeah, for sure.
In a once-off, but I think that is exactly the problem. If we are on the day, we can be good enough to beat them, but 9 games in the comp, we just
I can't see us going there and beating them.
Yeah.
But like South Africa,
the French team's there.
No, you're in trouble there.
Yeah, you're in trouble
there. Sharks came close, although I think if we
Sharks beat Bordeaux, I think, in the first year. They beat them away, if I'm not mistaken, at Bordeaux. The Sharks actually did. They beat them
3 years ago.
Yeah. Investec, was it?
But
It would have been Champions Cup.
That's irrelevant.
Yeah.
We in this year now. So they had a different squad and whatever. It's like Manchester United were great in the 90s.
We're great.
Yeah.
Now they're surviving relegation. Okay. You've been up. Let's talk about your Manchester. You were big buddies with the old CEO.
Boks Office.
Okay, cool. Bordeaux, the most exciting team to watch?
I like Bordeaux.
They are good to watch. There is something.
I love to lose as well.
Yeah. And to win, yeah.
Bordeaux was for me. I mean, you can't walk past that. Pinot scores 14. Beret scored 8?
Yeah.
They broke the try scoring record by a team somewhere deep in the 30s. I mean, I really not enjoy watching them. Their attack's incredible. I love watching them. Obviously, Luku, Jalibert, something special. 2 best finishers in Europe.
Yeah.
I love them. You
Also-
got a guy like Pete Samu that looks more comfortable in open play now than he's ever
Ever
had.
been, yeah. The fact that Penno smashes Chris Ashton's record by 3 tries, you know, so
Yeah.
you know that's a lot to go from 11 to 14.
14. It's huge.
You know, it's a big jump. And what did he score? 6 in the one game?
Yeah, sheepers.
I mean,
But there is an
too bad.
international flavour to the teams that Toulouse is probably the one team that's fully sort of French. But you look at La Rochelle that have won it before.
no. Malia,
King
Chocobares,
Horn.
Kinghorn,
Yeah.
Arnold.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's French now, but
You guys with Saracens had quite an international flavour.
big
La
international.
Rochelle.
Obviously, they didn't have the cap and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, like, I mean, like, you go to Leinster, like, it's now Irish, but there's a big Southern Hemisphere influence in the way they play there.
Toulon was a Southern Hemisphere. That team that won
yeah.
Toulon.
Yeah.
That was a World 15. That was
Three
ridiculous.
but 3 in a row is spectacular.
They did.
That was
That's
ridiculous.
crazy.
though. I mean, you go through that team, you go in the Toulon change room, you can see them. You actually forget some of these guys
No, they
that
did.
actually played there. It was insane. Yeah.
I mean, Saracens, we managed to beat them. It's the first time they ever lost at home in European rugby. I mean, it was
Amazing.
5-year streak at home or something ridiculous.
But
We just didn't lose that.
It's a culture thing as well, eh? I mean,
Yeah.
you look at the
That's what I'm
Saracens.
saying. To get that right and the
Yeah.
mix right and all of that.
You need you can also throw a lot of international players together and it doesn't function at all.
It's a
you
bloody
need the right people.
tough comp to go and win. So, like, whoever gets it, deserves it. You know, look at Leinster and we look at their squad and how dominant they are in the URC. And, they just can't get over that final hurdle or semi-final. It's a hard thing to get right.
But even Leinster, if you take, you can say they are successful in terms of the amount of games that they win throughout a season. And yes, it's sometimes those critical games and the playoffs that they lose, but they are dominant 90% of the time throughout the season. So
Absolutely.
their systems, I think, is just magnificent over there.
They're under the pump. They need to win yours.
Who's got the ability? I mean, they're not playing their best at the minute, but who can turn them over in the URC? We sit here every quarterfinal and you wonder, is it Glasgow?
Yeah, I thought if they were going to play Munster in the quarters, then I thought maybe, because Munster have done it before. Who do they've got Scarlets now. Scarlets beat them in the round robin, but it was a different team.
No, not happening. So they've got Scarlets and then they'll play either Glasgow or the Stormers.
Yeah.
Can the Stormers win away from home?
I think they can on Friday. We'll discuss URC. We've got to talk the other game in Cardiff, the Friday game. Bath against Lyon. Bath dominant.
I think Finn Russell has now established himself as the starter for the Lions. Yes. There we go. That's just my point.
What the rest of the Bath
I'm
team?
happy with that. Ben Spencer?
I thought Ben Spencer
Phenomenal.
was very good. He was at Saracens.
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
Has
Saracens.
he played for England yet?
Yeah, he's played a few.
Yeah. He was very good.
He's been out
He
the
was-
mix for a while. He's a great player.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah,
Well,
they're a
Bath
good
looks
side,
easy
man.
there, yeah.
Yeah, look, I think Leon tried. They had some moments in the first half where
When they're down to 13.
13 and lost, one try disallowed. Nice attacking team, Leon, but Bath is too much quality.
But also attacking Baths on the ball. Yes, they just look so comfortable. High pace, and with Finn Russell just pulling the strings there. He's an incredible player. With momentum. He brought an element of game management as well with the kicking game. I think he's he's really developed as a player, and I think he's not just that maverick that goes and does all the fancy stuff. I think he can really manage a game, and I thought he did it well on the weekend.
But I mean, we always had that feeling. Bath's been dominant in the Prem. Leon is 8th or 9th in the top 14. It's almost like last year when the Sharks got into that final against Gloucester. Gloucester took 90 points the week before. Yes, a weekend side against Northampton, but they were battling in the Prem at the time, so they managed to get themselves into a final. Unfortunately, it's just come up against a more quality opposition.
Bath's first cup, in 17 years. And they're going for the treble now. So the Premiership Cup has already been secured. So they've obviously won this now, and then now it's the league is the next one.
I think
if they can get that.
It's a great example of when you change coaches, you can't expect the coach to be successful immediately.
Yeah.
there needs to be a plan in place. He needs to be able to analyze the players and the coaching staff that he has. And then after, that first season and with what you have inherited, then you establish what do we need? Where are the gaps in terms of my playing style and how I want to play? Who do I need to bring in? Who do I need to let go from a playing and coaching point of view? And then the players, everyone to buy into the culture. And I think Johan van Graan has ticked all those boxes. He's been able to put a really good squad together, great coaching team as well. And it just seems like a happy environment there. He even the guys he had on the bench and who he brought on, I think, well done to him. He's done so well there.
South Africans in the Bath team, it's
Quite a few, eh? Quinn Roux,
okay.
Thomas de Toy,
What's our loose forward we had here?
Francois van Wyk,
Yeah.
Jaco
Gutse.
Garcia,
Jaco Gutse played with Toki.
Yeah.
Louis Schreder.
Thomas Tutu, obviously a lineman camp. He'll be in the Springbok mix somewhere along the line. Any other ones?
It was interesting. It was interesting. David Flackman, was he commentating?
Yes.
And when Thomas de Toy came on, he said, "Best tight end in the world."
Oh.
Yeah, it was quite a big
obviously
statement.
with him at the versatility of playing either side.
Either side, yeah.
You think about it, I'm trying to, who'd be, look, New Zealand Lomax, Furlong, De Groot's Lou said that. But the thing is also the fact that he can play both sides.
Yeah.
He's not far off there. I mean, if you look at his form for Bath, he's just securing that Springbok position.
Well, he's not even starting.
Yeah, exactly.
He's playing. Starting, like,
Well, look, Wilco Low, in terms of scrumming, Wilco Low is a beast.
who does he
at the
sit?
moment,
Does he sit behind Stewart there?
Who's the tight end at the Stormers? He's not too bad.
Francis
Van Haver.
Yeah, but he's injured at the moment.
Volkelo has been chief destroyer in the URC.
Yeah.
Like, he's been so dominant.
He's been incredible. He's been incredible. Springbok alignment camp, they had one last week. Who are you guys most excited to see in there?
I don't actually pay too much attention to these.
The alignment camp, because it's quite a big squad.
It's a big squad.
Very
Sorry,
big
guys,
squad.
I need a bathroom break quick.
Just go. No.
Cheers, boys. You crack on there with the alignment
Thank you
camp.
very much. Just go align yourself there.
Alignment camp.
Alignment camp. I don't know. I don't think many surprises. I think obviously.
There was Makaza from Varsity
Oh yes.
Cup. Yeah.
What an amazing story is that.
Varsity Cup.
It shows the vision that's at least there from a coaching point of view with Rassie and all the way down, saying, okay, this guy's still a youngster, but he's got the ability to one day potentially play there. Some of the outside backs getting on in age, yes, they can still do a job now. Introduce him to that environment, see if it can rub off a little bit, and who knows, maybe in time he'll be there. That Renzo Duplessis,
Yeah, he's a nice player.
yeah, also there. I think that might be a surprise. Manus van der Merwe?
Yeah, the Scarlet Hooker. He's a good player.
Yeah, good player.
He's a tough player.
And I think that's one position where there might be some question marks. So
Yeah.
you've got Malcolm Marks. I think Bongi, Bongi looked tired at times. So there'll be pressure on Bongi now. The other hookers, so Jan Hendrik Wessels, I think, has gone up.
Yeah. But is he,
a
I
lot
suppose
this
his
year.
versatility is also a bonus.
I think he should.
At hooker,
I think he should
I think
have a go at hooker now.
Troki. Did you mention Troki?
yeah. Well, you did now.
I think every year there's one big surprise. Last year for me it was Jan Hendrik Wessels named as Lou said.
Yeah.
And he obviously covers both. But like we've subsequently come to learn that, geez, Rassie was onto something special with his current form for the Bulls, whether he plays at Lucet or at hooker.
Yeah.
I think Troki's quite a big call. For a guy who's left South Africa a long time ago and obviously he's been dominant in the Prem.
Yeah.
And also moving teams in the Prem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going to URC, not in the Prem, going to Ulster. Who did Ulster sign? They signed another big...
What's that?
You're more comfortable with it now, yeah. You're more comfortable with it today.
You were blushing last time.
You're getting blushing.
I think
You started blushing.
Don't get jealous.
You're going to
We'll
Paris.
have our time.
Shimmie,
No, don't get jealous. He's going to Paris.
We can squeeze you in here next week, or you can host it from the middle seat.
We'll have our time.
Tell me, okay, cool, guys. Barbarians, first Bok game. Conor Murray, Omani, Curran Bosch apparently is in the mix. Sam Kane.
Okay. That's going to be the biggest one. Sam Kane and Peter Omani. now having to, because there was a bit of sledging between the two.
Yeah, but that happens.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
but I mean, now they're teammates.
Because one is going to leave.
It'll take
so that's
one
a big
beer.
one.
It'll be one beer. Everything's sorted. Yeah.
I mean, that was the famous, like, you just a poor man's Richie McCaw chirp. I mean,
Yeah,
I
exactly,
know they always get, some tails gets added onto it.
I think it's fantastic having those guys join the Barbarians.
I think so too.
That week for them in Cape Town, ooh,
That's going to be a tough.
could get ugly.
It's going to be a hard
Could get
week.
messy.
I love Barbarians weeks.
Who was your roomie? Jean, you had one night with the Barbarians and then you probably went.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It was good. I had
Yes.
John as a Ruby.
Oh.
Geez,
Were we year one?
I can't remember. Maybe.
We
I had
yeah.
a bit of a blow. I didn't spend much time in my room. I had Mark Regan once, England
Oh,
hooker.
jeez.
No, I never roomed with you. I had Rico Gear, and the other time.
Anyway, I had Mark Regan. I came back one night and late, and he was in the room doing some spread betting on virtual horses for the next day. And I was like, Mark, what are you doing? And next moment, he jumped up and started wrestling me. Anyway, I put him in his box, chucked him into the bedside cupboard, left him there to die, went to training, and they were like, where's Mark? I said, no, we had a quick little wrestle and tucked him into a cupboard. He's still dorsing. Go fetch him.
Who was your coach then?
Bob Dwyer.
And chilled.
Good on the red wine.
Yeah. How many practice sessions do you have with the Barbarians week?
What Barbarians game was that?
2004. Maybe I got it wrong.
No,
you guys play- did you guys
wasn't
play the
that
one
North
with-
South?
No, we played Barbarians game 2. Played the All Blacks, lost 40 points to 20. Maybe Mark Regan was my roommate in 2008. That's right. When we played
Wembley.
in Wembley,
Australia.
Eddie Jones and Jake White.
And Jake White, yeah.
Yeah, we trained lots that week.
You trained lots.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Jake and Eddie.
Yeah. But the next year we had Nick Mallet, and he was unreal.
Yeah.
I think we had 1 training, maybe 2.
And then we had Steve Hansen in 2013.
Also, lovely.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had.
Which one of the foreign players were good on the piss?
Oh, there's a lot of them.
Most of them.
A lot of them.
You gotta give me a
We had
Someone. Give me
we
the top
in
five.
2000.
Give me something.
2013, I think you told the story last time. We had Frank Halley on the wing.
Yeah.
And so we went out the one night, nice dinner out, and actually that time
Frank the Tank.
we all, it's like a lot of the time then you go out and then it goes like that. But the team actually stayed together and we went together everywhere. So the next day we had an event that we had to do for the sponsor, and and like everybody, okay, get together in the foyer. And now it's like, 5 o'clock. We getting together to go out for the event, and everyone's like, yeah, good night. Well, yeah, what time did you get back? No, like 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And here comes Frank Hella. It's like, hey, Frankie, what time did you get back? He said, no, 4 p.m. Like, I only got back now. I didn't sleep at all.
We had
Next level.
in 09 we had Andy Powell.
He was
Andy Powell was the Welsh
He-
news
He,
reporter.
he-
Yeah.
he
Big
got
boy,
he got arrested on the M25
On a golf
golf cart trying to go buy some snacks, and you could see this happening from a mile away. But he was unreal
Is it?
on it. Yeah, came off the bench. Was absolutely enormous in the last 20 minutes playing against the All Blacks.
Huge. Okay, guys. South Africa, obviously, you mentioned the quarterfinal coming up, the URC.
Yes.
Predictions.
Fine.
Glasgow versus Stormers, Friday night.
Phew, I see it. It's very difficult to go for the Stormers for that one. I think everything counts against them. They haven't been good away from home. They weren't good in Glasgow last time around with the artificial pitch. Glasgow pretty good against Leinster last round of URC, so yeah, have to go with them.
Glasgow's
Glasgow.
wobbling, and they had some injuries. I mean,
That's where I think Stormers have got to get.
if some of those players get selected this week, it's a different game. No Damien Willemse for me is a big caveat for the Stormers. I just think he buys into whatever the plan is and drives standards. It's important, but yeah, we are a little bit too loose, I think, to get a result this weekend in Glasgow. So repeat of last year's quarter. We'll get close. I don't think we're going to win there.
Last year, remember last year, it was like, if the Stormers had got their kicks, they
Yeah.
would have won that game.
We had Sasha playing that game, but Mani kicked.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think that's going to be the case this time. Yeah.
yeah.
Let me put it this
So
way.
look, we don't know the team selection also, but
Yeah.
my thing is Glasgow have got quite a lot of guys coming back from injury. It's I understand if you got one or two.
No, and
if you
that's
got 5 or whatever it is, that's a bit different.
Yeah.
it is different.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. So, I mean, if the Stormers do go on to win that one, you know, I don't think it'll be a surprise. But I think from what we know in the competition thus far, you'd have to.
Can
go with Glasgow.
either of those sides beat Leinster at the Aviva?
See, but my thing is with Leinster's reputation for bombing out somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
That's just my thinking. Look, Leinster at full strength, full steam, and the pressure's on now.
How long's Damien's suspension?
I don't.
2 games.
It's 2 games.
So, okay.
So
he's
not
not
a
back.
bad
controversial suspension. Leinster against Scarlets.
Leinster.
Scarlets would,
No.
no chance.
No, they're nicely coached.
Yeah,
I mean,
they play
they've
nicely,
got bloody nice players in there, but yeah, not against Leinster. Not in the quarter.
I see big win for Leinster in that game.
Big win. Bulls against Edinburgh. Well, the thing with Leinster, let's see who they select because you also don't know.
No, they're selecting who's available. I think
You reckon they'll go full?
the bandwidth's run out there. You
Yeah.
can't rest people in playoff games.
Yeah.
so,
No, well, if they do, it will be stupendous.
yeah.
Stupendous.
Stupendous.
Okay, I know what you wanted to say. Stupendous. Okay, Bulls versus Edinburgh, 1:30 in Pretoria.
It's not Edinburgh weather.
Yeah.
Pretoria on Saturday.
Yeah, we go Bulls. One area of concern would be goal kicking. Keegan Johannes, but he's a nice little player, attacking player. So Bulls.
Yeah, I'm also going Bulls. I think, and I mentioned it last week as well. You know, and after being at the Cornel Hendricks funeral yesterday, I think they've got more to play for.
Yeah.
And I think that
Purpose, yeah.
I think
Also, they've
Bigger
got
purpose.
there's a little bit of scar tissue regarding Edinburgh, so
as
they'll be up for it.
there's lots of emotion in that group. Yeah.
Sharks.
That's
versus
some kick-off time in Pretoria, 1:30.
1:30.
Yes, imagine the runaway in the afternoon.
Me and John played a under 21 semi-final there
In November.
in November, 1:00, and it was 42. And I remember we had injury crisis up front, and we had like a tight head who's just come in. 3 minutes into it, he was cramping and going, I'm seeing dead people. It is brutal. 1:30 there.
1:30. I wonder why the
I'll-
Bulls
I'll-
seem to get all the early games.
Altitude is a reality.
No,
Yeah.
sheep is
1:00.
supposed to
1:30.
start.
Sharks against Munster. If the Sharks give that same performance they did, which game was it? It was Scarlet.
I'm trying to forget it.
Shimmie, we
Yeah,
called it.
We're together. They won't make it through if they play like that. Not against Munster.
The only highlights we could get is conversions and penalties. Yeah, not conversions, penalties. 2 scrappers at the moment because, I mean, Munster this time of the season come into their own and they find a way to win games that
They do, eh?
that they shouldn't. Sharks have just got no rhythm. And the only thing they can revert back to
And that is why you'll go with the Sharks, right?
is a kicking game, which they do have a decent kicking game. Their defense and work at the breakdown is really good defensively. If they get a victory against Munster, they'll scrap it. It's going to set piece, line out, kick. It's not going to be pretty.
I think Grant Williams is back for them. And with Grant, at least he brings a bit of pace to the game. You know, but their attack has been so stale and one-dimensional.
So
I'm hoping he can be
the game we called, and it's obviously been trending for a while. The game we called, there was no one was at the right place. There was no execution. Eventually, obviously, they've got Andre Esterhuis and can get them straight over the gain line. Even off the back of that carry, you know, they put 20 phases together, and we're probably going to be generous and say they made 10 meters.
Yeah. And then
But there was no linked up
Yeah.
attack. It was forward upon forward upon forward.
No
And eventually they
half-break.
grinded a penalty. The whole team is condensed within 20 meters, not filling the field. It was hard to watch, but somehow, they won 13 games in the league. Like
They found a way to win.
they found a,
As messy as it's been, the Sharks.
and I'm going to back them to grind out a win against Munster in Durban, but I won't be surprised if Munster grinds out a win against the Sharks. But it's going to be 11-9 or 10-9, or it's not going to be a spectacular.
It did
And the
seem
Sharks, and then the Sharks and Bulls go to war then in the semi-final at Loftus.
And that's, I think, going to. And the Sharks, weirdly, has got an ability to beat the Bulls.
At Loftus, they can.
Yeah.
That game where they sort of played, not their main team, they beat the Bulls at
Yeah.
Loftus. And that was the best game I think I saw the Sharks playing this season. So if we go to predictions then, so Sharks, John, or Munster? I know this one's hard for you. I know you're thinking Guinness, you're
Like you
thinking
went,
bank
the
accounts,
Sharks,
you're
Kevin Putt,
thinking
the,
Limerick.
Kevin
thinking,
Putt picked
you
him
know?
up in an airport once, in a helicopter once, and took him for a spin, and he nearly went to the Sharks. JDV is closer to
Back
the
in the
Sharks, you
day.
think? Cost them a helicopter ride, and then said,
back
"Sorry,
in
I'll
the
stay
day.
in
It was
Cape Town."
beautiful. Hey,
Were you horse trading your contract to the Stormers or what?
not even.
You were never going to go to the Sharks.
Not even, yeah.
Is that what you did, John?
But it was
I know
nice.
that tactic.
Nice helicopter flip. For free.
Did the Sharks offer you a proper one, a proper deal?
No, they never offered me a contract.
But they took in a helicopter ride.
Yeah,
Yeah, just
For what? Just what? Because you and Kevin Putt are friends.
yeah.
John hasn't seen his Shark out of the air.
Yeah, I'll go. I want the Sharks to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I want the Sharks to win. I want all the South African teams to win. So, if the Sharks can't do it in Durban against a Munster team that's been below par this year, with all those internationals that they have in their squad, the Sharks, and all the changes from a coaching point of view, etc., then I think the issues are way bigger than what we think at the Sharks.
Okay. Sharks to win. I just want a Sharks Bulls semi-final. Stormers Leinster.
And who knows what happens.
Happens
I mean-
in the
I mean-
finals in South Africa.
I would be so happy if that's the case.
Huh?
If we got 3 of our teams. in
Yeah,
the
that would be
semi,
great.
That'll be amazing.
Yeah. Guys, big moment here.
Yeah.
Springbok all-time 15.
I hate these
From the
type of
Boks
things. Who
Office.
comes up with these things?
I don't know. It's controversial.
Can I
It's
put
going to be
one thing-
controversial.
Freddie.
Can I put one thing out there? Like, I mean, you can't compare eras.
100%
Yeah.
on that.
So I can only pick a team, people that is relevant to who I've played with and thereafter who I've crossed paths with.
You've watched, yeah. You can't. There wasn't a defense coach flipping 200 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I mean,
so-
it's like,
200 years.
yeah, no, well,
No,
it's an
definitely not.
exaggeration.
Definitely not.
You know what a hyperbole is? It's exaggeration for the sake of effect.
Okay.
That wasn't a hyperbole. I didn't mean it literally. It was
Oh, you
figuratively.
didn't. And
Okay.
literally me.
Okay. That was a hyperbole.
A hyperbole.
have we got the same? Am I going loose forwards 9 and 10?
Yeah. So do you want me to start?
Yeah,
please do.
let's start with
Loose head
number
prop.
one.
Yes,
That's a big call. Loose head.
Durant.
Yeah.
Peter.
Peter Oosturant.
I saw Peter last week.
Is it?
Anyone?
Look, okay, we can offer a little.
Yes. Please.
Look, I was going to think, okay, outside of him, you look at Beast, you look at Phil Vickery, Lion Series,
Yeah.
World Cup, what he did in the World Cup final. Those are some of the two. Then you look at Ox, what he did off the bench
Yes.
in the semi-final as some of the great loose forward, loose head thingy performances, but also in terms of scrumming, carrying, tackling.
And you don't even
All of them.
mention Stephen Kitsoff.
What's that?
You don't even mention Stephen Kitsoff.
No, but
I'm just saying.
okay, we're going to
I'm
get
just
to that.
saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Double World Cup
Okay.
winner. I'm just saying. But don't mention him.
No, I'll mention Stephen Kitts. After what he said, I'm not mentioning him actually. So that's what I'd look at. in
That's what
terms of
makes it so
performance, yeah.
difficult. Yeah.
So us, Hooker, who's going to be the captain?
I want to
I mean,
know
understand.
this.
I would say, look, it's either, look, John, if he's in the mix as captain.
You're not allowed to pick yourself, eh?
Okay, Bismarck
Yeah.
for me, I choose Bismarck. I think, you know, you look at the great hooker performances, Malcolm Marx at Newlands after we got a hiding in. Then there's one test Bismarck had, I think it was Bloemfontein against the All Blacks.
Yeah.
Those are probably the two of the great games I've seen from hookers. But Bismarck, he could steal, throw in, tackle, run. He's probably the complete
proper
package.
player.
Uli Schmidt?
No,
Not.
no,
James Dalton?
no, no. Tight prop, I'm going to go Frans Malherbe.
I'm with you with that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Locks, 2 choices. It was either Eben or Bakkies, but I'll go with Eben. And then 5 is Victor Matfield.
Yeah.
Not Adolf Malone.
Okay, I'll go.
Errors, we said.
Adrie Geldnys.
See, the lock one is a tough one between Bakkies and.
Jeez, but like,
Frik de Pre, not Frik de Pre. Not
it's like where the waters get muddy. There's so many locks. There's so many loose
Yeah.
forms.
But the locks, those 3 are probably the 3 that you can't.
But back to Schalk's point is that every generation is just so much better than the previous.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at the guys now, the speed, the physicality, the the coaching that they get, the analysis that they can do, everything they are better. That's why
But-
in sprints the guys get faster.
No, okay. But all the guys I mentioned now would make a World 15 any day.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no, no,
100%.
Yeah,
no,
anytime.
It's a very
Anytime
solid
that make a
tight
World,
five.
that walk into a World 15. Anytime. Scala, you up?
I'm so glad you went for Bismarck, so I'll pick the skipper.
Yeah.
I'll pick Sia, opposite flanker. Obviously, played with Flo.
Yeah.
You know, I also played 70-something test matches. Heinrich Brassoud, a hot stint where we played with, but I'll go with Sia, captain. Flanker I played most test matches with was Johan Smith, blindside flanker, like next level good. But then we also got someone who's won the World Rugby Player of the Year twice.
Yeah.
Piet Spiere.
Yeah.
So I'll put him in blindside flanker. Eighthman, I think, was always a tough one because our eighthman in our days for us always floated around, you know, like even Donny Rousseau in the World Cup, you know, when Pierre got injured, we had Joe van Niekerk, we had Jacques Ronier.
Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews, 95. I didn't play then, even though I looked that age. No,
Teichmann.
not.
Tash.
But yeah, I think for me it will be also play rugby with him, Dwayne.
Yeah.
Dwayne Vermeulen. 9 for me was the easy choice for Rita Priya.
Yeah.
And fly half, I had to put in Andre Pollard.
There had to be a Paul Jim guy in there. Anyway.
Yes.
No, Iceman.
It was him or Nas. Okay, I'll go 11 to 15. 11.
Oh, this is controversial.
He's not going to like it. No, but I'm going Brian Banner.
Oh, okay.
BH11, oh.
Got you, Brian. No, I'll go Brian.
Okay.
His record is just phenomenal. He was
60, how many tries? He'll tell us, but 64?
67.
67.
7, I think. Yeah, Brian Banner at 11. 12, again, I think we can go deeper in some of the guys that played in the, 70s, 80s, but I think Damien Delende, the way that he's been
Brilliant. Yeah.
initially, I think he was kind of boxed in a little bit, but he's really come to his own in terms of centre play. 13, Jacques Fourie was a phenomenal player. I think still so underrated as a Springbok. One of the best that we've ever had. And I think with Lucanio and JC also, fantastic players. But I have to go with Donnie Gerber because I think he is the best player ever to have played for South Africa. And again, skill set. That he was just so much better than the other guys in his generation.
He was a generation ahead of him, so he could have played in a modern rugby game.
That's interesting because he's the sort of the only guy you've mentioned from the previous era.
generation.
Yeah.
And I think because it just stands out. He was he was great.
So it would be him and then what, Jacques Fourie?
No, and Damien.
Okay.
So Damien
no,
at
I'm talking about at 13. If it wasn't Donny Kerber, it would be Mossy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely Mossy, if not Donny.
Your centre partner, yeah.
Then 14, again, we've had phenomenal wings, and sometimes you have the guys that can play left and right. But Cheslin, the way that he's redefined what it means to be a winger, to show that, you don't have to be the biggest, you can still beat guys, you can still be physically right up there. So I'll go Cheslin, and then at fullback, obviously we've had Percy Montgomery, 100 test matches, played for a hell of a long time. I think Willy's been phenomenal.
98 not out.
98 not out. He'll get to he'll get to 100. But I will go for the Rolls Royce.
Juba.
Juba.
Again,
You
great
forget about
player.
the Rolls Royce, how good he was.
Left foot, You know, ability to break the line, that outside break. So Andre Joubert at number 15.
7-1 split. 5-3 or 6-2.
No, we're not.
I'm
taking a
not getting
bench.
into a
No,
bench here, boys.
no, I'm asking which way do we go?
6-2.
6-2.
Yeah.
Cool.
6-2. Yeah. We'll have we can go 8. We can probably with that back line, you could probably go 8-0 split
Yeah.
and just replace the pack after half time and just smash those.
The game will be done by half time with that pack.
You reckon? Who are we playing?
Namibia. No.
There we go. Well, now,
There's my holiday in
Namibian.
Namibia.
I played them twice.
Yeah.
Newlands,
I played them once. We beat
Newlands
them by 100 points.
and North Harbour, yeah. Well, Schalk Burger was flying around.
And the coach, guys.
Oof.
Impossible. Oh, no, not
Yeah,
impossible.
Rassie.
Oh,
You have
Rassie's
to
the
go
coach.
Rassie.
You have to go Rassie.
You have to go
Yeah.
Rassie. Yeah, but then Kitch Christie never lost a test match as coach.
Didn't he at all?
The late Kitch Christie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, he can be assistant. Rassie's the head coach. Rassie's the director.
Director and then coach.
And Kitch Christie.
If you've won a World Cup for your country, you just get on the coaching staff automatically. So the
Yeah.
Jack just walk in there, he walks in there too.
Yeah. No, that'll be a proper coaching group.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys. I know,
Thank
it's,
you,
it's
Shimmie.
difficult. It's easier to
You.
select a New Zealand 15 or whatever. South African one gets.
No, I never liked doing
John, you'd have put yourself, if you're allowed, you'd have put yourself there.
No.
Huh?
No.
Really?
100%
You
you
thought
would
about
put
it.
himself in there.
No.
What do you say on the WhatsApp group? Can I put myself
Yeah.
as captain?
You
No,
said
I'm
that.
joking.
I can't believe you asked that.
Freddie had to remind him that there was any other 12s that played for South Africa.
Exactly.
But actually, if you look at 12, like Michael du Plessis,
Yeah.
and then the old generation, like the Mannetjies, Mannetjies Ruin, Jochie Jansen,
yeah.
those guys. that
Yeah, but
comes
like,
to-
that's why I said you can't. You can.
It's
Only,
hard to
I could only
compare.
pick from
Yeah.
players I played with and against because you can't compare eras. I mean, it plays.
But it's also where it get, it's like the loose forward thing. I mean, you look at a Joan Smith would have played against a Jerry Collins.
yeah.
You know, you look at the English contingent, the French. Then it was proper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now, how do you compare against who you played against?
Yeah.
You had Nonu and Conrad Smith keeping you busy.
Yeah.
You know, you look at the Australians, and it wasn't the
Yeah.
Australian team now.
I mean,
Yeah,
some,
Drew
it was-
Mitchell,
yeah, it
Sterling
was
Mortlock.
exactly.
and
Sterling
I guess
Mortlock.
the nice thing
Yeah,
about
no.
picking in your era is like, yeah, Andre Pollard and Damon the Islanders started. They knew how good Nonu and Smith and
Yeah.
Barrett
Yeah.
and that
Kind of
lot
like
was.
you had what, McCaw and then George Smith.
McCaw and
then,
George Smith.
What, Lewis Moody or someone. And then
yeah, 20-year-old
Le Sautois, yeah.
go on your first Tri Nations and go try and play against those Oaks. You learn to swim very fast, very quick. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, guys. Thank you very much. That's all the time we got. John?
Lekker, Sean.
No, enjoy Paris, sorry. From Paris with love. Look at you, boy.
Oui,
Yeah?
oui, oui.
The city of love. Popsy.
Ah, je t'aime.
Je t'aime.
Where are you staying there?
I'm not telling you.
So it's you, your missus, and
And the rest of the contingent.
What do you think the chances, like after this episode, that Brian Abana is going to run the Goros?
No, that's good.
He's coming.
Brian's always everywhere.
where was
amazing.
he? He was at the final this last weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him there.
Yeah.
In where?
I wonder
I
how
wonder if he went to Tiger.
Malibu and
again.
Coke for Brian Abana.
Tiger.
Definitely.
Oh,
The-
is it still open there?
I don't know.
Walkabout?
I don't know.
Cool. Guys, look, we have to wrap it up.
Okay, wrap it up fast then.
Thanks to Investing for sponsoring this episode. Thanks to Jean de Villiers and Schalk at Bishops for the box office, which is now closed.